Welcome to Open Door. My guest is Alfred Porter Jr. He's president of Black on Black Crime, Inc. He's an activist. He's also a hip-hop artist in Cleveland and doing a whole lot of other things. But the reason that I'm talking to him today is because he was part of an event called the East Cleveland PD Shutdown. Welcome to Open Door, Alfred.
Hey, it's an honor and a pleasure to be on. Thank you very much for inviting me.
All right. Well, it's my pleasure to have you on the show. So we talked a few moments before we initiated the show, and you're telling me about an event called the East Cleveland PD Shutdown. What was the reason for having this event? Why was it necessary to stage this?
Well, it was necessary because it was a whole lot of different reasons, but to give it the proper framework, I would say on the date of January. So we'll start there. On the date of January, it was, I believe, the 5th, which would be a Tuesday, when a car chase happened in the city of East Cleveland. And in that car chase crash that took place over a stolen automobile, which just should have never happened if you give it the whole context. 3 individuals got out. They ran. I will say that one individual ended up shot in the back of the head. Now, the officer on duty at that time, Larry McDonald, it was the contention that what made it stand out so was that the following day on January the 6th, we found out that officer, who has been under investigation for other offenses, under investigation, mind you, turned off his body camera before the incident occurred. With that being said, we went out there to deal with just 3 core words: stop the chase. We feel like if the police had stopped their chase in a deadly November car chase on the evening that we will say Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams were murdered in a hail of 137 gunshots at Heritage Park in East Cleveland off of Terrace Road. If the police would have stopped the chase, that would never have happened in the first place. Policy and procedure has been put into place from such places as Cleveland. East Cleveland even said that they were going to stop eliminating deadly car chases, which did happen in 2019 when a car was chased from the west side of Cleveland back into the streets of East Cleveland, and a 13-year-old girl was hit and killed by the out-of-control vehicle right after she left the East Cleveland Public Library. We asked again about stopping the chase. And so with this latest fiasco, that is one of the reasons why we went out there. I will say, organizational team that went out on a Saturday for January 9th consisted of Fathers Lives Matter, Angela Y. Davis, who was the main one who brought it into fruition, myself, Sergeant Major Stokes of the Black Man's Army, Brother Art McCoy, and Dolores Gray were some of the main co-leaders of this effort, because you cannot have a grassroots movement or effort if you don't have quite a few members working together.
So, in essence, what happened was there was someone that was implicated in a crime, and for whatever reason, they were attempting to elude the police, and in the process of the police pursuit, someone was murdered or someone was killed, allegedly, by an East Cleveland police officer who has a history of being involved in similar events and did I hear you correctly to say that he was under investigation?
Yes, that is exactly what we are saying in the outside independent investigation, because once again, whenever you get up and turn off your body camera, that's a red flag to everybody involved. It is definitely a red flag. And so for me, I just wanted to say that was one of the main reasons why we hit out immediately. By that happening on the 5th, we had mobilized by the evening of the 5th, and then we started putting it out to different groups and various organizations that we would like to see them out. I believe by January the 6th, we had reached out to many different organizations, and we felt very thankful to be able to do that.
Okay. I may have missed it when you initially described the incident, but could you tell us who the alleged victim of this incident was?
Oh, no. The alleged person was none other than Vincent Belmonte. Vincent Belmonte.
Okay. And do you know if he's a resident or was a resident of East Cleveland?
Yes. As a matter of fact, family members from East Cleveland verified, and they were present at the rally itself. I think they were very, very, one thing they just wanted to make sure of is there was a thorough investigation. And my thing is, no matter what happens or what a crime may be committed, it should not be an automatic death sentence. If it was an automatic death sentence, there are a lot of people, including myself in life, that just wouldn't be here right now. So I expect for people who are in leadership roles or selected leadership roles to at least be held accountable. Anytime you put a badge on, it means there are certain rules that you're supposed to follow. If you're supposed to have your body cam on, then you should at least wear your body cam. If you turn it off, then what kind of leadership role are you portraying? It's like, I know that being president of Black on Black Crime Incorporated, there are certain rules that I have to follow, such as the sunshine laws, as far as our minutes are kept in our meetings, following our agenda, making sure everybody is heard from, that there are no backdoor politics going on. Those are certain roles that I have to be held accountable to, because if I'm not, then your group can suffer. You can lose the 501c3. I'm using this as just an example of the fact that no matter what leadership role you have to follow it to the utmost potential, or there will be consequences.
What response have you received from the East Cleveland Police Department and the city of East Cleveland?
The East Cleveland Police Department right now has said investigation. That's why we're saying we want to go a step beyond that, because right now the same officer who was named earlier has been involved in different high-profile, I will say, accusations. Everything from offering to tear up a ticket for a female or a lady, unless she said yes and went on a date to him, to, I will say, investigation on trying to take drugs from a drug bust. So for that being said, it looks like it's a much-needed outside investigation that is needed for the East Cleveland Police Department. And if he was, in fact, certified by the Impala standards, we are looking at those things. As far as the city of East Cleveland goes, after we announced that we were going to at least have a rally and a march for Stop the Chase, several East Cleveland council people and the council president went to give an update on, I believe, January the 8th, a day before the event. And then I know on January 9th, Juanita Gowdy, who's the East Cleveland City Council Vice President, and Ernest L. Smith, Ward 3 City Councilman, were in attendance to the march and rally that happened, as well as Nathaniel Martin, I will say East Cleveland councilman at large. So we have had support from at least the city council people on this issue. But as far as the mayor's office goes, the mayor's office has been extremely silent.
Okay. I just have to wonder about the effectiveness of an investigation conducted by a police department on itself. It seems to me, and you raised the issue of an independent investigation, it just doesn't seem, I don't know, it just doesn't seem even feasible to do an investigation, an internal investigation, when the nature of that police department has the stigma that it has in terms of things that have happened in the past. What are your thoughts about, perhaps the county sheriff's department or some other law enforcement agency conducting an investigation?
I'm fine with that. The reason that I say that is because when it comes down to it, I use myself as an example because I would like for more people to use themselves as an example. If, for instance, at a Black on Black Crime Inc. meeting, if they said, "Hey, yeah, let's use this scenario. Brother Porter has been taking so many dollars out of the Treasury's Department," and I would not sit back and expect the group members to say, "Well, who's going to do the investigation?" And I say, "Well, I'm going to have my vice president check into everything to make sure everything's all right." I would think that the group would say, "No, we're not. We're going to open up all funds and everything like that immediately and at least have all the members be able to take a look at it transparency-wise. What's going on with the account? Where has it been? What have you done?" You wouldn't expect for me to sit there and investigate myself or maybe one other person right up under me. That's not the way it goes. So on this one, you hit the nail on the head with MC Hammer, so to speak. You need an outside investigation to take a look at this, because right now I feel it's just in bad taste, bad timing, if we expect for them to at least get out there and investigate themselves.
Okay. You're listening to Open Door with Vince Robinson. My guest is Alfred Porter Jr., president of Black on Black Crime Inc. And we're talking about a homicide that occurred in that city days ago, and it is apparently being investigated by the East Cleveland Police Department. We're going to get back to Al Porter Jr. and talk to him more about the Black on Black Crime Committee and other things that are happening in East Cleveland and Cleveland at large when we come back. We'll be right back right here on 95.9 FM, WOVU, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station. We'll be right back. What can you do in the battle against COVID-19? Your first task, wear a mask, protect yourself and others. Armor up, armor up. Give those hands a 20-second shower with soap and water. Armor up, armor up. Give others space 6 feet just in case. Armor up, armor up. Get good nutrition, ingest for digestion. Armor up, armor up. Vitamin C, D3, and more. Armor up, armor up. Elderberries, zinc, and echinacea from the store. Armor up, armor up. Get some fresh air. Go climb some stairs. Armor up, armor up. Let go of stress. Make sure you rest. Armor up, armor up. Your breath is the key to life. Strengthen your immune system, follow the guidelines, and win the battle against COVID-19. Armor up, armor up.
WOVU 95.9 FM. Find us on Facebook. Like our page. Leave us a comment. We are WOVU 95.9, streaming live on WOVU.org.
We're back on Open Door with Vince Robinson and my guest, Alfred Porter Jr., president of Black on Black Crime Inc. Before we took the break, we were talking about an incident that happened in the city of East Cleveland and a rally that you held, or an event that you held, to bring attention to that particular event. But I want to expand the conversation and talk about the reason for an organization like Black on Black Crime Inc. What was the genesis of this organization, and what are the objectives?
Well, the genesis of this organization, thank you very much for asking. For over 40 years ago, it was loosely put together coalition of businesses because Brother Art McCoy wanted to deal with, at that time, businesses, black businesses, doing its best to raise possible capital, work together to eliminate and eradicate the black-on-black crime that was permeating at his time. And when you look at it, yes, things had changed to a degree. It was in the mid to late 70s, you used to end up with 300 plus murders in our area, but then again, you had many more, thousands more residents here at that time. Now it's a high crime rate and high crime area, and with less residents, which is very scary when you have almost 200 homicides per year. Well, it went from being businesses put together to opening up the door for more citizens to become a part of an organization, to at least work with young people, set an example, talk about where jobs can be, try to instill pride in young people while dealing with everyday life, from police brutality to at least having a place where people can go to not only talk about situations, but work together to change situations. And so with that being said, that was the genesis of Black on Black Crime Incorporated. And it's very interesting because during our 40 years, you never knew who would come to your organization seeking help. So when Amanda Berry and Gina DeJesus were missing, we worked with both of those families for over 10 years, doing our best to hold police accountable, to at least search harder, doing our best to provide hope to those families, even when at one time there were people who criticized our organization and said, you ought to leave it alone, tell those families that those children are gone, dead, deceased, and then you see that in the final analysis, it taught me to always have hope, because not only did they find those two, but they also found Michelle Knight as well. We've been involved in several different actions when people come to us and say they need help, such as with the recall in East Cleveland, which was historic because it removed a sitting mayor and vice president of city council at the same time, or working with the red light, speed light cameras to get rid of them because they were unconstitutional, because instead of going in front of a judge, you were going in front of a traffic officer or tickets officer themselves who was deciding your case rather than going in front of a judge so that you could dispute and provide evidence. Those are just some of the many issues, along with those of mentoring and doing other things in the community. Black on Black Crime Inc. works alongside Black Man's Army for the man-to-man program. And so those are just some of those things that we have constantly worked on.
So you said 40 years that you've been in existence?
40 years that the organization has been in existence.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
And based on what you just shared, you would definitely say that you're having an impact.
Oh, yes, because I believe that we're one of the groups that are having an impact, because and let's be clear about this to be fair, if one group had the answer for everything that was going on, we wouldn't have the past few years record numbers of high crime permeating. When I say high crime, I'm going to say homicides and shootings that have been consistent. So the reason that I say that is because I feel like being a member of a group that is active for mentoring, to going out, a lot of times people will say, what's the good in a vigil? Well, a vigil is so families can not only at least grieve and get things off of their chest for their loved ones, but there are a lot of times information is brought in to us that people don't feel comfortable talking to the police about, so that we can at least help do certain things and also to calm down certain people in the neighborhood, because sometimes there are those people who will feel like, I think I know who's done this. I'm going to go out here and handle this immediately. And we have to talk them down and let them know that you're doing the same thing that might have been done here. And if you're wrong, what's the consequences? If you're right, what's the consequences? So a lot of different things go into why we do what we do in the community, and also to do follow-up with young people that we run into. I just feel like we are just one of the wheels that the Creator has allowed to be in existence to at least add some sort of comfort to some people in the community.
That's a very interesting point, Al, because, you know, so many times you turn on the news and you see Black on Black Crime Committee, or you see Art McCoy, or, you know, others who are involved in the vigil. It seems like it always follows the tragedy, but you never really know how effective that is in addressing the issue, or even why we keep seeing that. So I appreciate the fact that you shed light on that. I wanted to follow up with you about the traffic cameras, because, you know, I don't like to drive through East Cleveland because those cameras are there. Are they still being used? I know there was one on Superior that was removed right there where Coventry and Superior intersect.
I think the city of Cleveland, they received a memo because the vote was we were so influential in the fact that every last precinct voted no overwhelmingly to get rid of those cameras, because they understood and overstood everything. Right now, for East Cleveland, it is definitely up in the air for the city of East Cleveland, because they, along with maybe one or two other places in Ohio, have tried to fight hard to keep those cameras in place. And I believe that they will at least look at removing the cameras all over. They've already started doing that in Ohio based on our lead and what we were able to accomplish in Maple Heights and in the city of Cleveland, that they have started to do certain things to make sure that, if nothing else, cameras will be removed in all places.
Well, I know that there's still
federal funding and stuff like that involved.
Okay. I know there is still a camera that's up at Eddy and Euclid, and I think there's also another one that's up at Forest Hill Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. And I also know that they post a mobile unit sometimes on Superior going down towards Euclid Avenue, and sometimes they have one at near Noble and Euclid. So the cameras are still up, but I know that there was one that was removed on Superior for whatever reason. But I don't know. I mean, it's just a personal opinion. I mean, when you look at a city like East Cleveland, I know that there are issues with revenue, and they saw that as a way to generate revenue, but they sell it as something that's being done for the purposes of safety. And maybe in a school zone that might make sense. And I know they can always justify putting those cameras up. But, you know, it's really a shame, because it discourages people from driving through East Cleveland, because they know that they have to deal with that.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So you have some other issues that you've been dealing with. I know back in November, it was the anniversary of the killings of Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams. What has come as a result of your dedication to bringing that issue to the public's attention?
I'm going to say that what has worked so well is I have seen unity across the board. I will say that. Timothy Russell, Melissa Williams proved a couple of things to me. It proved that people say that we forget. And I would point to that case and say, no, we don't. As a matter of fact, the judge in that case, Judge John P. O'Donnell, he ran for the state Supreme Court. He ran for the state Supreme Court after finding Officer Grillo innocent, because he felt that his role in firing 47 times while standing on the hood of an automobile was not excessive and was excusable. With that being said, Judge John P. O'Donnell, last time he ran for the state Supreme Court was 2020. During that time, you had ministers, you had clergy from Bishop Eugene Ward, you had Brother Jerry Prim, you had councilmen like Kevin Conwell, you had activists like myself, many other organizations. We all teamed together, Brenda Bickerstaff, Mariah Crenshaw, to at least form a unit that went out there and said, if this man couldn't do this in this case and be fair and impartial to all residents, and that was the grievous decision he chose to make, you won't make it to state Supreme Court. And he didn't win because of the grassroots effort. Members like Kevin Conwell and others traveled and talked to other council people and leaders in other cities who had the same message, say no to O'Donnell. And it worked. To say the least, I've been very thankful in looking to see how our people have galvanized to work together. It's a sight to behold. It's, to me, very unbelievable.
Okay.
And I'm thankful to see the fact that we have not forgotten Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams. Every year we gather to remember them.
Okay. You know, I'm just, as you spoke about it, I'm envisioning a man standing on the hood of a car and firing 47 shots, and as he is surrounded by a number of other police officers who had also been firing shots. But it just seems to me, just in this moment, as I envision that there had to be some intentionality about what he did, and the fact that the other officers probably had to reserve their fire because of the danger of injuring their fellow officer. So just, again, picturing this in my mind, a man standing on top of the hood of a car and firing 47 shots into the cabin, and then being exonerated by the authorities, and then we're supposed to forget about that. That's not something that can be forgotten. I would challenge anyone out there who has any artistic ability to create that visual. I'm thinking that it would be extremely impactful. Very interesting conversation with Alfred Porter Jr., president of Black on Black Crime, Inc. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back right here on Open Door with Vince Robinson. This is 95.9 FM WOVU.
We are WOVU 95.9 FM. Our voices united. United to enhance our community. United to be a beacon of hope. United to empower our community. WOVU 95.9. Our voices united.
My name is Robert Johnson Jr.
This is Corey Jenkins.
And Courtney Jenkins.
This is Artemis Carter.
Hi, this is Anita Isom.
This is Delvis Valentine.
This is Susan Lacotte.
Eric Nolan is in the building.
I am Talitha Kubabe, and you're listening to 95.9 FM WOVU.
Welcome back to Open Door. My guest is Alfred Porter Jr., president of the Black on Black Crime, Inc. organization. And we've been talking about a number of things, but I want to shift gears and talk to Alfred Porter Jr. about his artistic life. I know he is a hip-hop artist. I know he has had an organization that sponsored a hip-hop workshop. I think you were doing that down at Cleveland State University. I kind of buzzed in and out a few times when I was at Cleveland State for other things, and came in and witnessed what you were doing. And I know that there is an altruistic reason that you're doing that. It's not just about you being a hip-hop artist, but it's what you do for others who are in that genre. So talk about your involvement in the hip-hop genre.
Well, I can say that I love the hip hop workshop because it gives a lot of new talent time to come in. And a lot of times there are a lot of different places where artists perform. They can't take their own family. This is a lane where they can not only bring their family, but newer artists to younger artists coming in. They can join in. They can learn about the music industry. They can learn about their craft. They can learn about the history. They can learn about the pitfalls, what to look out for, how not to be taken advantage of, from others who will come in and are willing to teach about some of the very things that we just spoke on. And it's also a time where it proves a lot of things out to be a lie, where a lot of people will tell you that the only way you can make it in this industry is you have to come out there, you got to insult or tear down your own community. You have to convey certain messages that you don't agree with. And when they walk in, they see, wait a minute, there are artists here who might bring a positive message or a message that isn't considered corny. You can still be applauded. You can still be at least accepted for giving a message that's bringing people into power. So with that being said, I believe and feel that the facts have shown that the Hip Hop Workshop has done a lot of great things in itself.
Okay. Since we're in this place of social distancing and we've seen our venues, for all intents and purposes, shut down, what have you done to adapt to this change in the landscape?
I will say that we have been very fortunate that even though Cleveland State was not open, we held an outdoor hip-hop workshop with our DJ Dollar Rock in his open field and lot around August of last year. We were able to hold a hip-hop workshop where we got together on the inside of the African Museum, the African History Museum, which is located on Crawford Road in Huff. And the reason that I have to say that is because on February the 13th of this year, from 12 to 7 p.m., the African American History Museum at 1765 Crawford Road, from 12 noon to 7 p.m., they'll have a pop-up shop and people will be there, and I'm pretty sure that we will have Brother Poet in the house, and also with DJ Cowboy, the backyard music man. He will provide, along with Pulse Points, a place where a lot of our hip-hop workshop artists will be able to come through, perform, and at least entertain. So we just had to find different locations, and we have consistently done this. We were able to be on the inside of the African Museum in the early part of December of 2020, and also the upcoming events at the Dialogue Center, which is located at 15415 Kipling Avenue,